All right, so I've never made a YouTube video before, but I thought it was pretty important to talk about this. I'm going to explain my theory as to why I think the Chinese allowed this coronavirus 19 to escape just a little bit, and how they were well prepared for it and they knew we wouldn't be. Not just Europe, but us here in the United States. So it all started with the coronavirus starting in a supposedly a live animal meat market or whatever, where these Chinese people go in and eat all kinds of weird things, and where this coronavirus had started. And supposedly the government shut it down ASAP and tried to contain it, and yet they couldn't fully contain it. And even if they didn't want to contain it, in my opinion, the two doctors in questions at the beginning of this crisis, as I'll call it now, knew something was going on and tried to communicate to one another, and the government found out about it, and the local government found out about it, got the police involved, and shut the two of them down. Made them sign papers saying that they were creating havoc in the government and what have you, causing a panic, a riot. Well, one of the doctors ended up dying of this, and he's somewhat of a martyr now, I guess, or a hero. Not a martyr, but a hero. But the Chinese head officials came in after that and talked to the local government and fired everybody in the top to make it look like, hey, well, we're on top of this, and it was the local government that messed up, and not the head honchos down there in China. But I think that, and I'm sure that somewhere in China there's a situation room as to their expansion and their plans to expand into great parts of the world like the United States, Australia, Europe, what have you. And they knew to be prepared for this virus when it came out by having plenty of masks and goggles and scrubs and all the things that they need to protect themselves. And I mean, these Chinese people shut down a city of 11 million people. There was nobody walking in the streets. Try to do that in Houston. Try to do it in an even smaller city like St. Louis or Cincinnati. How about Nashville? There's no way in hell you will ever shut down a city in the United States and contain a virus like this, and they knew it. We have open border crossings back and forth all over the country. You can get on the interstate in Washington State today and be in Florida Keys in 3 days. And they knew that. Over there, you're caught out on the streets and you have a fever. That's it. You're going to the Corona hospital. The Chinese, as soon as this started to seem to get out into the public that there was a crisis, promised to build a hospital of 1,000 beds within, what was it, less than a month? How did they know they were going to need all these beds? They look like ants working on this thing, non-stop, 24/7, around the clock. And then before this hospital was done, they had plans to build another one and another one. The Chinese knew what to do whenever this virus came because they prepared it. We were completely unprepared, but we should have been. We should have closed the border to the United States from China instantly. No more. If you've been to China at all in 2020, you cannot come into the United States. Not a 14-day waiting period. There was a report not that long ago in Washington State that said that there's a chance that there's been people walking around with this coronavirus for weeks. Weeks, not as in 2, but they said 6 weeks. How far do you think all those people in Washington went? And how about the people in Washington who are near this epicenter in Washington now and have the ability to get away from Washington and not come back? Where do you think they took the disease? And how long does this crap live on the surface? And how easy is it to catch from just one sneeze? Or one, I touch a doorknob and then touch my eyes? No, the Chinese knew. This is March 3rd. We have 103 cases today. We have 9 deaths in Washington State. I think they were all in pretty much in a nursing home. But I could see us having 500,000 cases in this country easily, probably within 2 months. The Chinese have contained it. They know what they're doing. They have a totalitarian government there, and you will do as they say. Here, people do what they want. And that's why you're going to see the spread of this disease everywhere. If you people don't wash your hands, if you don't pay attention to what you're doing, if you stick your hands in your eyes and in your mouth all the time, you like to lick your fingers after you had the fried chicken, you're going to be in a lot of trouble if you don't wash your hands. And I mean thoroughly. I'm not talking wash your hands like you're having dinner. I mean scrub them bastards, especially if you're going to stick them in your mouth or in your eyes or in your nose or up your butt or whatever else it is you're going to do. I don't know what else to say except for be prepared.